The digestive system is the process by which food and liquids consumed are broken down and nutrients are absorbed for usable energy by the body to aid in growth, repair, and survival. Waste products from this process are excreted as feces from the body. The gastrointestinal tract or alimentary system are the hollow organs which the food passes through from mouth to anus. The accessory organs create and deliver enzymes and bile. These organs include the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas. Food enters the mouth and is bitten down into smaller pieces by the teeth, while the tongue guides everything around for thorough chewing. This is called mastication. 3 pairs of saliva glands produce saliva made up of salts, water, minerals, and enzymes. The saliva wets and softens the food. Small balls called bolus are formed. When the bolus is swallowed, it enters the pharynx, where swallowing continues automatically, pushing the food down into the esophagus. Muscular contractions called peristalsis push the food down into the stomach. The bolus encounters gastric acid containing hydrochloric acid, enzymes, and mucus. Hydrochloric acid attacks harmful organisms in the gut. The stomach muscles churn up the contents, mixing the bolus and the gastric acid to create chyme, a semi-fluid state that is released into the small intestine. The primary function of the small intestine is to absorb nutrients which enter the bloodstream and travel all over the body to be used in bodily functions. The liver secretes bile, which consists of water, salt, pigment, and cholesterol, phospholipids and triglycerides and electrolytes, to break down large lipid molecules. The gallbladder stores bile and concentrates it by absorbing the water. This is secreted into the small intestine to support the breakdown of fats. The pancreas secretes enzyme-rich pancreatic juice into the small intestine to break down food into fats, proteins, starch, sugars, and regulates the sugar levels. Anything unabsorbed by the small intestine enters the large intestine, where any remaining vitamins, water, and electrolytes are absorbed. Bacteria processes the waste material and forms feces. The rectum is a cavity that stores fecal matter until it is time to evacuate the waste. Fecal matter evacuates through the anus. There are 2 processes that aid the digestive system in breaking down food substrates for easier and quicker absorption. Mechanical digestion, the physical breakdown and movement of food, begins in the mouth, where the teeth break down the food and continues throughout the digestive process with peristalsis contractions. Another prominent example of mechanical digestion occurs in the stomach, where the churning motion covers the food in gastric acid. Chemical digestion uses enzymes to catalyze molecular breakdown. These enzymes are necessary for sufficient absorption of nutrients, otherwise this process would take too long. Enzymes connect to specific molecules and break them down into their base products, then detach and repeat. These molecules are absorbed into the bloodstream. Enzymes are categorized as carbohydrates, produced by salivary glands, the pancreas, and the small intestine. Amylase, for example, helps break down starch into simple sugar molecules. The stomach, pancreas, and small intestine produce proteases. Pepsin, for example, breaks down proteins into peptides and amino acids. Lipases are produced in the pancreas and the small intestine. Pancreatic lipase breaks down fat into fatty acids and glycerol. The liver is the second largest organ, weighing 3 pounds, and is brown and cone-shaped. The liver has many functions, but it has 2 main functions regarding digestion. Firstly, the liver produces and secretes bile through bile ducts into the small intestine. 50% of this is stored in the gallbladder. Bile is slightly alkaline to neutralize gastric acid and breaks down fats and oils known as lipids. Secondly, the liver purifies the blood that comes into it from the small intestine after it has the newly acquired nutrients from digestion, removing waste and toxic products like alcohol. The liver can store simple sugars to make carbohydrates through glycogenesis in times of need. Looking at histology, the stomach has 4 layers. Mucosa, the innermost layer, has gastric pits and deep entrances containing gastric glands, which produce and secrete gastric acid. Mucosa membrane protects the stomach from the acidity. Submucosa, durable and flexible, this thick layer of connective tissue connects the mucosa to the muscles that stimulate digestion. Muscularis externa, the smooth muscles that generate the churning motion, that it comprises of 3 layers: the inner oblique, the middle circular, and the outer longitudinal, which form in different directions. Serosa is the outermost layer, with a mesothelium membrane that produces fluid to lubricate against friction during movement. The duodenum is the first part of the small intestine and is 25 centimeters long, with 3 layers. Mucosa is the innermost layer, with epithelium tissue. It has finger-like projections called villi that are covered in hair-like projections called microvilli, which increase the absorption rate of nutrients by increasing the surface area. The submucosa, a layer of connective tissue containing a series of folds, also affecting the mucosal layer known as plicae circularis, is a unique characteristic of the small intestine, filled with mucosal gland. Areolar connective tissue allows blood vessels to connect and contains Brunner's glands, which release an alkaline substance containing bicarbonate to reduce the acidity of chyme. Muscularis mucosae are inner circular smooth muscles that contract to mix chyme, enzymes, and bile from the gallbladder. Fibrous outer longitudinal muscles continue to push the substrates along the digestive system. The ileum, the last part of the small intestine, has 4 layers: mucosa, which contains villi and microvilli. There are collections of intestinal glands and lymphic nodules known as Peyer's patches. Submucosa, loose connective tissue folded into plicae circularis. Muscularis externa, outer longitudinal and inner circular muscle fibers with ganglion cells which are part of the nervous system between them. Serosa is the outermost layer with mesothelium membrane. There are 7 requirements for a healthy and balanced diet. This will provide the body with all the macronutrients and micronutrients to promote growth and repair of the body and support the immune system to prevent illness. Carbohydrates are macronutrients that are crucial energy sources as they are broken down into sugars. Carbohydrates comprise different sugar units called saccharides, defined in 2 forms. Complex carbohydrates in pasta and potatoes contain large chains of sugar molecules such as starch, glycogen, and cellulose, which take longer to process. Simple carbohydrates with only 1 or 2 sugar molecules are naturally found in fruits such as fructose, or refined as sucrose and glucose in sweets, biscuits, and soft drinks. Protein is made up of complex amino acids. 8 are required for tissue growth, repair, and maintenance, and lean muscle building. When there is insufficient supply, these can be used as energy. Fats are present in all living cells as fatty acids and are used in hormone production, other nerve signaling molecules, and temperature regulation. Fats are also used as an energy source when needs are not being met, such as low intensity exercise, and aid in the absorption of vitamins. Fat molecules comprise of 4 molecules, 3 fatty acids and 1 glycerol. They fall into 4 categories. Unsaturated fats come in 2 forms: monounsaturated fats, meaning they have 1 single bond in fatty acids across carbon atoms, and polyunsaturated fats, meaning there are 2 or more double bonds. Saturated fats are solid at room temperature and can have negative impacts on health if too much is consumed. Trans fats are a form of partially hydrogenated saturated fats and are rarely found naturally in food, so they are often found in processed and fast foods. Fiber is often found in the outer wall of fruits, vegetables, seeds, and whole wheat carbohydrates. It contains no calories and aids bowel function, keeping stools regular. Soluble fiber dissolves in water into a gel-like form, changing how nutrients are absorbed, improving sugar levels and lowering cholesterol in the blood. Insoluble fiber doesn't dissolve in water and is not metabolized, but increases the rate food passes through the digestive system and removes waste materials from the body. Vitamins are organic substances. The body requires 13 vitamins for various functions. Vitamins are either fat-soluble and remain in the body longer, or water-soluble, which are expelled at increased rates and stored in smaller quantities. Fat-soluble vitamins are vitamin A, often in fruits and vegetables with orange or yellow colouring. Keeps the skin healthy as it supports cell reproduction and growth. It also assists in the immune system and aids vision. Carrots, tomatoes and oranges contain carotenoids, which are converted into vitamin A. Vitamin D supports the immune system and helps absorb and regulate calcium and phosphate. Vitamin E is essential for vision, the skin and the immune system. Vitamin K helps the blood clotting process and wound healing. Water-soluble vitamins are all 8 different vitamins Bs, which help the body to use carbohydrates, fats and proteins as fuels. Some B vitamins assist with cell multiplication by making new DNA, such as B3 and B9. Only folate and vitamin B12 can be stored in the body. B1 supports messages sent through the nervous system to the muscles and the blood sugar levels. B2 protects glutathione in the eye and supports eye health, reducing the risk of cataracts. B3 supports nervous system function. B5 is vital for red blood cells and hormones related to sex and stress. B6 is involved with brain development and immune function. Research is being developed to assess the effectiveness in reducing the risk of Alzheimer's. This vitamin also supports over 100 different enzyme reactions. B7. Current research suggests that this vitamin helps hair growth, brittle nails, and skin hydration, as well as metabolizing fatty acids. B9 supports average growth and catalyzes red blood cell synthesis, reducing cognitive disabilities. B12 keeps blood and nerve cells healthy and supports maternal and fetal health. Vitamin C is a powerful antioxidant that supports tissue repair, helps wounds heal, and protects cells from damage. It also promotes healthy skin, hair, and blood vessels with collagen formation. However, the body is not able to store this vitamin. Higher quantities are found in citrus fruits. Minerals are inorganic compounds with 2 types. Macrominerals are needed in larger quantities. Calcium and phosphorus help promote healthy bones and teeth. Sodium and potassium maintain a balance in bodily fluids. Magnesium aids metabolic processes. Sulfur is a key component in 2 essential amino acids. Chloride transports carbon dioxide. Microminerals are only needed in small quantities. Iron carries oxygen in red blood cells. The mitochondria uses manganese as an antioxidant. Copper metabolizes iron and is used in the formation of connective tissue. Iodine aids thyroid function and hormone production. Zinc catalyzes cellular metabolism. Selenium supports healthy immune systems. Chromium stabilizes blood sugar by increasing insulin. Molybdenum breaks down toxic substances. Water is necessary for all bodily functions. 20% of the water consumed for hydration comes from food. The body cannot store water and needs constant replenishment. Water supports cell growth and maintains the balance of moisture in the skin. It also maintains blood pressure and assists digestion by facilitating food and nutrient movement in and around the body. When the body is insufficiently nourished, the signs show. Dehydration occurs when the body isn't receiving enough water, which is constantly expelled through urination, sweat, and particles during breathing. A person suffering from dehydration will experience feelings of thirst or dry mouth, dark or less urine, dry skin, cracked lips, headaches, and dizziness. Malnutrition or poor nutrition comes in many forms and is classed as either acute, meaning there is an immediate risk of complications, illness, or death, or chronic, where a person's development and growth have been affected by malnutrition over time. Overeating and obesity are forms of malnutrition, particularly when overconsumption is related to too many sugars and fats. Excess body fat impacts many areas of health, including joints, heart, and mental health. People wanting to remain weight healthy usually use the BMI system, which works well but is flawed, as it only considers a person's excess weight to height ratio as fat, which isn't always the case. Starvation, another severe malnutrition, is a serious lack or low quality food consumption, putting individuals at risk of prolonged illness as the immune system is not functioning at optimum levels, which increases the risk of death. A lack of energy from bodily functions means individuals may experience low energy or excessive sleeping and appear to have bloated stomachs. Increased heart rates and shallow breathing are also often accompanied, as the body is under stress, leading to dizziness, muscle atrophy, and eventually death if untreated. There are many nutrient deficiencies a person can suffer from, but some of the most common are iron deficiency, affecting around 25% of the global population, is the most common, often leading to anemia. Symptoms usually include tiredness, a weakened immune system, and impaired brain function. Vitamin B12 is only found in sufficient amounts in meats. Therefore, those who do not eat meat are at an increased risk of this deficiency. The most common symptom is megaloblastic anemia. Other symptoms like impaired brain function, headaches, heart palpitations, shortness of breath, and memory loss may also be present. Calcium is essential for bones, heart, brain, and nerve functions. The most common symptom of a deficiency is soft and fragile bones. Iodine deficiency affects the thyroid. Symptoms include an enlarged thyroid gland. Many also complain of weight gain, increased heart rate, and shortness of breath. Vitamin D is produced from cholesterol in the skin, catalyzed by the sun's ultraviolet light. A deficiency causes muscle and bone weakness, putting people at an increased risk of fractures and breaks. Vitamin A deficiency is more common in developing countries, causing temporary or permanent vision loss. This deficiency is the world's leading cause of blindness. Magnesium deficiency causes abnormal heart rhythm, muscle cramps, and migraines, and is associated with type 2 diabetes. Sodium deficiency causes an imbalance in bodily fluids. The cells begin to expand, causing nausea, muscle cramping, brain fog or headaches, and even seizures. Protein deficiency symptoms include fatigue, brittle hair and nails, muscle weakness, and wastage. Vitamin C deficiency is less common now. Sailors who had this deficiency suffered from scurvy, swelling, and painful gums. The body needs cholesterol, which comes from consumed fats, to build healthy cells. Unsaturated fats are rich in high-density lipoprotein, which the body needs. Saturated and trans fats contain higher levels of low-density lipoprotein, which builds up in the bloodstream, leading to high blood pressure and an increased risk of heart disease. Diets vary for several reasons, such as preferences, religion, culture, and moral beliefs, and intolerances or medical needs that can restrict the consumption of certain foods. Most people will consume enough nutrients through a good and varied diet. Current recommendations believed to care for the body today are: starchy foods should make up just over 1/3 of your daily intake. Whole grain or brown versions of these foods often have extra fiber and vitamins. Eating skin on increases vitamin and mineral intake, as the highest concentration of these are usually just below the skin. Eat 5 portions, around 400 grams of fruits and vegetables a day, remembering that a variety of colours means a variety of vitamins and minerals. These can come in any form: fresh, frozen, canned, dried, and juiced. But be aware of added sugars and salts, particularly with juice and canned fruits and vegetables. Dairy products are a source of protein and calcium. The fat content can sometimes be high, but low fat and no added sugar versions are usually available. Dairy alternatives are also a part of this group and are just as good, especially if unsweetened and calcium fortified. Protein should comprise of around 10 to 35% of a balanced diet. Rich protein sources include beans, pulses, fish, eggs, and meats. Try to eat less processed meats and choose white over red meats. Avoid the skin where necessary. These foods contain high levels of zinc, iron, and B vitamins. Try and eat 2 fish a week, 1 being oily, as these are rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Total fat should comprise of 30% of the diet, mainly unsaturated fats. Other fat should only comprise 10% of overall fat intake. Eat less sugar and salt. Too much of these can lead to obesity, tooth decay, increased blood pressure and heart disease and stroke. Only 5 grams of salt and 30 grams of sugar per day. Thanks for listening.